everybody, it's me, Shallow360, and today is July the 13th, 2020. I don't always plan to put the date at the beginning of the videos, but I felt like today was a good day to do that just because a lot of stuff has been going on today. Probably the most troubling thing to happen today was that they found the body of Naya Rivera, and I know that I mostly talk about K-pop here, but I wanted to mention it because I talked to Stephanie today and she was like, "Oh, mom, it's devastating." And, it was funny to me a little bit that she would have that reaction because Glee ended a long time ago and Stephanie's only 15. So it's not like Glee was something that was a new and current show that she'd been following. Actually, she just started watching Glee again in the last 2 years, maybe. We watched it when she was little. Like when Stephanie was 4, we used to watch Glee quite a bit. We used to watch it after American Idol, I think. But yeah, Glee hadn't been a thing in our household for many, many years. And she definitely wasn't kind of following pop culture when Glee was a big show. But definitely over the last few years, she had been getting more into Glee and she really liked Naya Rivera, who played Santana on the show. And I didn't know that Santana was black. Like, I don't know why, but, well, I shouldn't say Santana. I didn't know that Naya was black. I didn't find that out until very, very recently. But it was really difficult because, she's getting to an age where her celebrities are dying. And they're dying young. And it's very unfair feeling when somebody young loses their life. It was really difficult for her when Cameron Boyce passed away, and then for Naya, who in my daughter's mind is in her early 20s because my daughter's watching Glee reruns, you know? And it's very difficult to process that. It's very difficult to process that as a young person and trying to deal with the implications of death and what it means. And it's hard for me as a mother to hear about her passing away because when the police were, I guess, notified about what had happened, it is because they noted that her 4-year-old son was by himself on this pontoon boat that she had rented. And I know that as a mom, I would never want to put my child in a position that would be harmful, and thank God that authorities were notified early on to go look for this boat and to find this baby. But yeah, I'm certain that she would never have wanted him to be left alone like that. I'm sure she never wanted to leave this kind of terrible memory for him. From what I could see on her Instagram, she loved her son very, very much. So it's just heartbreaking to leave your child at that age and to leave them with in such a traumatic way, with such a traumatic event. And then of course there's celebrity death, and that's something that I kind of want to talk to you guys about because I've had my fair share of celebrity death stories that have passed my timeline over the last 4 decades. So, from the deaths of Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, Amy Winehouse, you name it. So many people have passed away in the celebrity hemisphere, and we mourn for them and we feel bad for them. But there's this other thing that happens, and it is the worst thing about celebrity death. It is this thing that makes it to where everybody feels the need to add some kind of special commentary to it. And I can't say that what they're doing is wrong because I'm literally doing that right now. Like me, I'm literally doing that right now. But I try to do it in the least gross way I can. But there are a lot of people who I saw on the timeline were like, "Oh my gosh, now her singing If I Die Young becomes so much more poignant now." And, "Oh, she was found on the anniversary of Corey Monteith's death, and now the two angels will be together in heaven." And a lot of things that, to be quite honest with you, feel very shallow. They feel very shallow considering what's actually happened. Take away the fact that Naya Rivera was an actress. Take away the fact that she was a singer. Take away the fact that anybody in the world outside of her close friends and family knew her. She was a woman with a child, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and she's gone. And when it's your neighbor or when it's your family member, I don't know that you would feel comfortable having people put up clips of them singing mournful songs and being like, oh my gosh, this is so much more sad now. No, without those clips, it's still devastating. It's still very painful. It still makes no sense in this world. But that's what we do. We cannibalize celebrity death and we pump it for content. TMZ releasing the fact that her body was found before the police had a chance to make a press statement. People taking pictures of the cast of Glee standing at the shore looking at the water. People taking pictures of her family waiting by the shore and her mother on her knees. It's just, we've got to do something. And I know that I'm talking to a small group of people here and we don't hold much power, but as a collective, we need to start spreading the word on our social medias and other platforms that we want death to be respected. And that just because you're a celebrity, your death doesn't have less respect due to it. Also, I will say, Kelly Preston passed away of breast cancer, and her family kept it really low key that she was dealing with that. She left behind an older daughter who was in her, I believe, early 20s, and a young son, I believe, under the age of 10 or right at about the age of 10. She had another son that had passed away several years before. And the way people have treated Kelly Preston's death as opposed to Naya Rivera's death speaks again to that cannibalization. For Kelly Preston, it's like, oh, she was an older woman, so the story's not as sexy. She was established Hollywood, so there's a little bit more respect to be paid because she's the wife of John Travolta and famous Scientologist, and it's cancer, which all of us can relate to, so we're not going to be as salacious and we're not going to be parked outside of her home with cameras and trying to film everybody that enters and exits her home. But with Naya, a young woman of color whose death is shrouded in mystery, it's justifiable to have cameras all over the place and intrude in people's privacy because this is a sexy story to them. It's a beautiful young woman who is a part of the entertainment field, and there's so many pictures of her and everything else, and it's disgusting. Straight up, it's disgusting that this is happening. And you see this over and over and over again with people of color, young people, celebrities who have maybe been involved in some kind of scandal, celebrities who weren't given the kind of same respectable status as other celebrities are given. And there's real people behind these deaths. It's not just the image you see on the screen. It's not just what you've heard on the radio or what you saw in a video or anything like that. There's real people. And it's not even just the person themselves. It is the people that they're surrounded by who have to live with this void in their life in a much more intimate way. And we've got to find a way to make the press more accountable for what they're doing, to make them treat these things with the respect they're given, but we have to change the way that we talk about these things as well. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm perfect, and I'm gonna say, over the years, over the last 2, almost 3 years now, I've mentioned Jong a lot. And part of me mentioning him is because it's almost like having a kid. If any of you have kids out there, you might know what I mean. Once you have a kid, your life is measured by their life. So you're like, oh, back when such and such was 3 years old, we went here. Or, I remember you were in the 5th grade when we went there. And like those are your time stamps of your life. And it's before I had kids, and then it's after I had kids based on where they're at in their life. And for a lot of things in K-pop, that's how my life in K-pop has been measured. It's been before December 17th and after. And I'm not proud of myself for doing that, because I know for some of you who watch me, it can be triggering for you. And it's never my intention to be triggering for you. Being able to talk about him with some regularity and being able to reference him in a way that makes it to where he's ever present in my thoughts is a part of my healing process. And so I don't talk about him lightly, and I don't talk about him in a way that I want to come across as disrespectful, but I talk about him often because in a way it's a chance for me to not forget him. But I do wonder how it makes his family feel when people reference his passing all the time. And we've talked on this show about how his life has been utilized as a sort of precautionary tale in the media about the hazards of being a K-pop idol, and how the system will break you down, and the way that Korea treats mental health, and just emblematic of so many wrongs. And very little attention is paid to who he was in his life, to the people that he leaves behind, to the things that he accomplished while he was here, to the things that made him very happy, and the reason why so many people felt so attached to him, because of his spirit and his joy. And it's just, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. And I really do struggle. I feel like I'm entitled to talk about him in many ways because I cared about him before anything ever happened. But on the other hand, he didn't belong to me. He belonged to his mother. He belonged to his sister. He belonged to the members of SHINee. He belonged to his family. He belonged to other friends that went to high school with him and wrote with him, and artists that he recorded with. He didn't really belong to me. But while I feel that me as a fan, I've tried very hard to talk about him in a very respectful way, and I've tried not to read too much into the things that he did during his lifetime, and I've asked for respect to be paid to him. I feel like there is a big difference between the way I and other Shawwells talk about him versus the tsunami of camera flashes that approached the hospital the day they carried him out. I've only watched those videos a couple of times. And really the only reason why I watched the videos is because one time it came up on my timeline and started to autoplay and was devastating. The other time I watched it because somebody had said something about how Yuri was acting up at the funeral, and I just watched the clip to see, like, is this the media going after somebody for a stupid reason again? And it was. She had ran up to the casket right before they had finished getting it into the hearse, and at the time that she did it, it wasn't attention seeking. It wasn't her being out of pocket or trying to, get the cameras to look at her. You could tell from watching that video that this was a young woman who may have never experienced death before, and definitely not of somebody that she was close to and had frequent contact with while they were alive and thought things were okay. That kind of disbelief, that was what I saw with her. Like, when she ran up, she was like, no, we're not doing this. This is not real. That's the way it seemed. And so I did watch that, but I haven't watched it since. And I refuse to watch it. And I'm still angry that happened. I'm still angry that all you can hear are camera flashes. I'm still angry that anytime they talk about him, they bring up the photos of Minho's face crumbling, and they bring up the photos of Key sobbing and Onu rubbing his back, and they bring up the photos of a stone-faced Taemin and all the other people from SM who look like they just woke up from a 1,000-year nap and are just cold. Not cold because they didn't love him, but cold because this isn't the way they wanted to say goodbye to him. And this is a narrative that keeps running over and over and over again. This is the same thing as the press outside of Michael Jackson's compound when he was killed by his doctor. This is the same thing as the press downstairs of the Wilshire Hotel while Whitney Houston's body is upstairs in the bathtub. Over and over again, it's just cannibalism. It's taking these people and turning them into stories and clickbait and views and ratings and talk pieces and think pieces and all the other things that you can extract from them one last time with one more coin you can get out of them. And I think that we've just got to start speaking up and saying, no, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let you continue to use somebody's death as fodder, as a way to gain followers, as a way to be seen as, oh, I'm the new intellectual person that knows about what this means for society and everything else. We've got to start bringing the humanity back into things. And I also feel that the way that celebrity death is treated is a lot of the reason why so many people are scared of death. And I'm one of them. I'm scared of death. I don't want to die. I have many reasons that I want to live. Um, and I've always been scared of death since I was a little kid. I've had some really weird encounters with death over the years. When my biological father died when I was 12, I remember seeing him in his casket. And fun fact, I'm laughing out of nervousness. African American skin, the darker you are, when you die, if you don't have blood flow under the skin, which blood flow ceases when you pass away, it causes your skin to take on a grayish pallor. And so my father, who had had a very deep brown skin in his life, looked ashen gray in the coffin. And he didn't look like himself to me. And as a 12-year-old kid, I had my grandmother and my aunts telling me, go kiss your daddy goodbye. And I was horrified, completely just stock still, aghast, and terrified. And I didn't have to do it. I cried my way out of it. But I've always been scared of death. And when you see how people talk about, oh, what the great tragedy this is, and they focus on all the sadness and all the things that went wrong, and whenever they reference people, they reference it with sadness. It's no wonder why as a society we're scared of death. They make death seem like it's the final worst thing that can happen to you. And true, it is the most final thing that can happen to you, because that's game over, obviously, but it's not the last part of you that exists when it comes to the narrative of your life. There's so much more. Even after you pass away, the people who knew you in life are still here, and they still think of you. And they think of you as more than just the way you passed away. They think of you as everything that you were while you were living. And that's the reason why I titled this video, We Got Each Other. There are so many ways that people are misunderstood after they pass, and there's so many things that people try to attribute to people after the fact, and there's so many interpretations for what happens to us when we die, and why we died, and what happened, and how it happened, and what it meant, and was it premeditated, and all these other things. But the people in your life who love you, and the people in your life who have cared for you, and the people in your life who want to see you do good, they're the people who got you. We got each other. And we will be here to make sure that the real story is told, to make sure that your life is celebrated, to make sure that you're not reduced to just whatever happened to you. Not that I'm expecting anything to happen to anybody that's watching this video, but I'd like to think that that's how we're living our lives. That we're living our lives in a way to, if something happened to us, the memory of our lives bring a smile to somebody's face. That when people hear our names, or when they look back on a YouTube video we made or anything else, that they're happy, that we made them happy, that we contributed something to them, and that we were good, that we were a good. And so I hope that we'll all live our lives trying to be something better than what death could reduce us to. I don't expect to be remembered. I really don't. Lord willing, I live a really long time. By that point, none of you will be following my channel anymore, because I probably won't be posting videos. And I'll probably be that old lady who the only people at my funeral are like my nurses and my daughter and maybe my nephews. But If for the time that we were together, I made you happy. If for the time that we were together, I made you smile. If for the time that we were together, I made you feel loved, then I did what I was supposed to do. I was the good. And that's all I want to be, and that's all we want to be, and that's all we really can strive to be at this point, is be the good. Because nothing else matters. People are going to twist things the way they want to. They're going to spin things the way they want to. They're going to say what they want to, and you'll have no control because you won't be here. But you can control the right now. You can control what you want to put out there. And my goal in all of this is to be the good. I've learned over the years that money situations come and go. I've made more money, I've made less money, I've lived in nicer accommodations, I've lived in not as nice accommodations. And in times when I was the most flush with cash, I was sometimes the saddest I've ever been. The times when I was surrounded by people and I should have had the most fun, I was the loneliest I'd ever been. And then the times when I should have been the most desperate, and when I was at my lowest and didn't have any money and didn't know what the future was going to hold for me and didn't know what I was going to do next, I was free. And then there's been times where I've been flushed in money and super happy as well. So, not saying it's always opposites. But in all those times, I really, really tried to be the good. And that's all I can do. And that's all I'm asking for any of you guys to do. Just try to be the good. There's just so much bad that we can be. But let's try to be the good. Let's try to have each other's back. We got each other. Even if nobody else has our back, we got each other. And that's what we need to be trying to strive for. So that was the main thing I want to talk about tonight. There's really not much in K-pop I wanted to talk about. I was going to tell you guys that I broke down and I ordered a copy of Red Velvet's new album. I know, I'm such an asshole. So when I saw the previews of the bass note version, I knew it was for me. Like, immediately when I saw it, I'm like, this is for me. This is what the Lord meant for me to have. You should order it now, Samantha, and fulfill your destiny as a Red Velvet fan. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I ordered it. And I am not ashamed. I am kind of disappointed in myself for breaking my vow of getting it used, but at the same time, the used market for this latest Red Velvet comeback has been shit. I don't know if the rest of you out there have been trying to see what the used market prices look like, but the used market is still $20 for a CD with no photo card. How, Sway? How? So I said, you know what? For $24, which is $4 more, I can just get a brand new copy of this beautiful packaging that is a book rather than, it's a magazine rather than a small CD case, and I could just live my life to its utmost capacity. And so I decided to do that, and that's what I did. So that's done. That is done. I wish I was able to buy it with other stuff, but there wasn't really anything else on the K-pop shops that I wanted, so that was it. I thought about getting Zico's random box, but it's so expensive. Like, the cheapest I've seen it has been $29.99 plus like $5 shipping. That's the cheapest I've seen it. That's still $35. I think Zico's cool, but I also find him highly problematic. So I think instead of getting the random box, I'm just gonna download the songs on the random box and be done with it, because I like him, but I don't like him $35 worth of like. That's too much. That's way too much. That's another thing I need to address. So when Mason was here, I talked to him about how I really need to downsize my collection, and I really, really do. And I've been thinking about like all the K-pop stuff I can get rid of to help me downsize my collection, but I think it's almost time for me to download or to downsize my KR&B collection, because I have a lot of stuff that I just don't listen to anymore. I mean, it's stuff that I've downloaded, and because I've downloaded it, I don't really go through the jewel cases anymore. So I've been thinking about downsizing that collection, especially like some of the stuff that I really got it because things go out of print so incredibly fast that I'm like, I need to get this now or else I won't be able to get it again. A great example of that is Hayes's Jenga. If you are familiar with her discography, most of her stuff is still in print. Like, you can get pretty much everything she's released since then in July. But Jenga was a very different comeback because it came with a limited edition and a regular edition. And the limited edition came with a Jenga puzzle game, and that's the version that I have. And I'm glad I got it when I did because it sold out within days. And I don't even really see it for sale very often, like on the resale market. But the truth of the matter is, I never open it. I've never played Jenga with it. Whatever intention she had for me when it came to that packaging, I've never lived up to it. And I thought maybe it would do better to be in another home, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, but what if I change my mind? I've been very indecisive about the downsizing. I've got to do better. I really got to do better. But yeah, that's kind of been on my mind, is, not just stopping at downsizing my K-pop collection, but get to downsizing my overall collection of Korean music CDs, because it's just out of hand. I just have way, way too much, and I'd like to be able to appreciate what I have a little bit more. That's the other thing. It's about getting rid of abundance and getting to feeling abundance. I think it's very easy to get to a stage in life where having things makes you feel like you're living in abundance, whereas really abundance is about feeling full, not about looking full. It's weird. I remember when I was younger, my mom would be like, you can tell who rich people are not by the labels on their clothes. You could tell that they were rich by the quality of the fabric. So it wasn't about looking in abundance. It was about feeling in abundance. The weight of the fabric would let you know that this was a quality garment, even if it looked very plain. And yeah, I'm all about trying to live in abundance, guys. I'm all about trying to increase my quality of life, and that means doing a fair amount of downsizing. So I don't know when that will happen, but I definitely want to try to get that going sooner rather than later. Also, while we're talking about K-pop and living in abundance, let's talk about YG and their managers, who are obviously living in the most abundance because they're not even doing their job anymore. They're just out here living. So apparently, two of the members of iKON got in a car accident because their manager was driving drunk. And my God, the bare minimum is required on a job. Be sober. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be on time a lot. But bare minimum, be sober. Don't show up to work drunk. But anyway, they were involved in a car accident because their manager was driving drunk, and two of the members were injured, but apparently it's minor injuries. At least that's what the press is saying. You never know, because YG Media Games. But this is the second incident just this year of manager misconduct over at YG. Let's not forget the manager who stole $1 million from Lisa. $1 million. Let me say that again for you who didn't hear me correctly. $1 million. Not a million won, $1 million. And I mean, that was completely motivated by the fact that she's a foreign member. So they felt like she was easy to take advantage of. But again, YG, your managers, what the hell is going on? Why is this even something that they're allowed to do? And this manager who stole from Lisa, we're still not even sure if that person has been fired, to be honest with you. So what goes on in that building? It's sad to see the YG machine disintegrate, because you can't say that K-pop would be what it is if YG had never existed. And I'm not saying that to give them more credit than they're due, but Sotaji and the boys really changed the game in terms of introducing hip-hop to Korea. And there were a lot of acts during the time that Sotaji was performing, and even after him, that capitalized on hip-hop. You had H.O.T., you had Diva, you had Baby Vox, you had even Shinhwa a little bit, R&B. You had One Time. Like there were groups that did hip hop in Korea. But what YG did was YG established not only hip hop being a staple in K-pop, in idoldom, which it wasn't really a huge staple in, even though, again, like I said, HOT, whatever. Um, but he also made it to where it was no longer about imitating the West, it was about establishing something that was absolutely earmarked by Korean sensibilities. So it was weird because K Hip Hop World 2 on Twitter, she did a thread about like 90s K acts that slayed or something like that. And when you hear some of that 90s K-pop, that later 90s, early 2000s K-pop, a little bit of it grates on the ear. A little bit of it grates on the ear. A little bit of it is a little out of tune, or it's a weird harmony structure, and it's not something I could see myself listening to if I just want to chill out in the car. But when you look at early Big Bang and the way the melodies are in Lies and Haru Haru, it definitely doesn't sound like American hip hop at all to me. Like maybe some of the sound production for the backing track is a little bit more American hip hop, but the way that the harmonies are done for Lies, that doesn't sound like American music at that time at all. And it established that, you know, Korea can have something that's very much its own, even though it is greatly influenced by American culture. And so many groups since that time have picked up that torch and ran off with it. You know, there's a certain structure to a Big Bang song that just is now a staple in K-pop. It's the verses, then the second half of the verses, and then the build up, and then the drop, and then the big chorus. And you find that in all of the good Big Bang songs. You find that in Tonight, you find that in Fantastic Baby, Bang Bang Bang. The Big Bang stadium size songs have that marker. And if you look at every other group who's doing a kind of mishmash of K hip hop mixed with K R&B mixed with pop music, they've done a song that has that same kind of track, that same kind of first part of the verse, second part of the verse, pre-chorus, build up, drop, chorus. It's now a fingerprint in K-pop, and so we're grateful to have YG having kind of started that for the industry. But I think along with kind of being the first company to introduce light sticks to a fandom, it also comes with a deep amount of hubris. It comes with a deep amount of entitlement. It comes with a deep amount of self-satisfaction and believing that you are bulletproof, not trying to be punny, but that you can withstand any criticism because you were the first. And so you're to be respected. And so I think things have been running fast and loose at YG, and YG really hasn't been keeping up with their managers. A lot of these managers have probably been with the company for years, and they don't feel any compunction about showing up to work drunk, because who's going to check them, boo? They've been here forever. They've been here longer than some of these kids have been here. And that is the reason why YG is facing the issues that they're facing now, because you can't be complacent in your previous achievements. You have to continue to move forward. You have to continue to improve. You have to continue to do better, and they're just not interested in that. They're very happy being an established label, and they don't feel any need to bring in new blood or challenge the way things have always been done, because they're comfortable. And I got news for you. Y'all lose Blackpink, if this treasure thing doesn't pop off, it's going to get real tight around there, because iKON is not bringing in the money that Big Bang was bringing in. Winner's not bringing in the money that Big Bang was bringing in. Akdong Musician, they're trying their hardest, but they're still not a really big international group. And Big Bang is not making you money like that anymore, because they have been smothered in controversy. So maybe it's time to get your head out your ass and do a little housekeeping and try to fix things while there's still an option to fix things. Speaking of fixing things, I'm so tired, y'all. I'm so tired. Let's talk K-pop appropriation for a minute. Cultural appropriation in K-pop is nothing new. We've talked about this before. We've talked about blackface, people wearing cornrows, people wearing braids, deep tanning, all that shit. But it feels like the last few days, K-pop has really been trying to test me. It started with Yuno taking a picture at a playground wearing a bandana and wearing like little scraggly braids all over. And this comes on the heels of SM releasing their statement about how we're learning how to be better. As if no one has told SM for years, quit trying to make this braids thing happen for your idols. We said that with Kai. We have said that with Kai. We have said that with Kai. I feel like we keep having to mention Kai. But Taemin had gel dreads one time. We had to talk to him about that. But yeah, over and over again, the conversation has been, why? Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep doing that? And then they released this statement about how we're learning and we're listening and, you know, our black partners and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then here's, you know, happy as a clam sitting up there with his little braids and his bandana like, I'm a hip hop guy. Fuck out of here, SM. Then we have Hojung from ATEEZ, who for the most part, ATEEZ feels like they've been pretty down. And here he is, blue blonde cornrows. Yo. Why are we doing this? Straight up, why are we doing this? First of all, these aren't even attractive looks on these idols. Let's just start right there. Let's just start with the very minimum. Take away the cultural appropriation conversation for a minute. Let's just talk about how this doesn't look good. Straight up, it just doesn't look good. Cornrows didn't look good on Kai during Wolf. Gel dreads didn't look good on Joy. They don't look good on Taemin. NCT doesn't need to be wearing braids. No one looks good in these things. There's never been an idol who looked good in these things. Okay, don't let me lie here, because Taeyong from Big Bang in the early days, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I had a little bit of attraction. I had a little bit of don't let me be hypocritical. Early Big Bang, Taeyong with the braids, that was a look. That was a moment of weakness. I can call it for what it was. But most of the time, these idols don't look good with these things. And absolutely, you know, with his big man energy, does not look good wearing a bandana and extensions and multiple chain necklaces and just... He looks so much like he was dressed up like a character in some kind of weird parody show. And it's just like, why? You're so grown. You have so much experience. You have been around for so very long. Why are we doing this? You grown up man, why are we doing this? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the picture. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it. But yeah, you know, I expect way more from you. I expect much, much more from you than this. So this is the picture of Yuno. I don't know if this is a park or not. I'm just assuming this is a park. But this is Yuno with his bandana and his braids, and it's a man in his 30s. This is a man in his 30s. What the fuck are you doing? What is this about? And then I'm going to show you the absolutely horrible hair from young man from ATEEZ. Again, this is not even attractive. This is not even attractive. It doesn't even look good. It doesn't even look good. let's just start with the bare minimum. It doesn't look good. Secondly, let's not act like we were born yesterday, guys. We know why you do this hair. We know why you do this hair. You do this because you are trying to represent hip hop or cool or urban or, whatever the fuck they're calling black culture nowadays to avoid calling it black culture. But you're doing all this to represent that aesthetic. But the difference between what it looks like on you and what it looks like on us is that this is not something that we just started doing for the look. This is something that we have been doing for many, many years. It's something we're very experienced in, and that's the reason why it looks different when it's on us. Like, my hair has been braided since I was practically a toddler. And so when I get my braids done, I'm very picky about how my braids are done because I know it looks good on me. I know it's appropriate for me. And I've been doing it for years. And you can tell from looking at these two instances, this is something they're trying on for a photo shoot or whatever the fuck they're doing right now. There's no care to it. There's no experience to it. It's just to imitate a look that they saw somebody else doing. And it comes across clumsy. And it comes across as awkward. And it comes across as ill-fitting to what their normal aesthetic is. So what's the point of imitating something if you're not going to do it well? If you're going to appropriate, be a ninja about it. Be slick about it. Make it to where I don't even notice because it looks so good. But you don't. It looks terrible. It really looks awful. So, call it for what it is. And this is not the only shit that's been going on in terms of hair in Korea. There's a show, I think is it called Backdoor Rookie? I think so. I'm going to see if I can find it. And they've got a character on that show that it is 2020, and I cannot believe that this shit is still being shown on television. It's called Backstreet Rookie. That's what it is. Oh, wow. When you type in Backstreet Rookie, the first two things that come up are racist and problematic. Wow. All I can say is, at least it's on task. So here's the picture of the character from Backstreet Rookie. This is a currently airing show in the year of 2020, the year of our Lord and Savior 2020. This is a character still from this show. And this is just a character still. This is not even the scene from the show where a Nigerian man walks into a grocery store. I'm just going to play the sound. Already it's bad. You hear the music.
Are you in Jamaica?
I'm original Korean.
안녕하세요. I'm from Nigeria.
We are Jamaica family.
Yeah, we are Jamaica family.
Ah la 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 long.
Oh, la 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 la.
Ah la 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 long. Long long ho 살아왔어요. 김치가 있어요. 김치 있어요. 김치가 앞에 있어요.
What you don't see are these two people with dreadlocks dancing through a convenience store. The one black gentleman that they enlisted to do the show says he's from Nigerian, and then the Korean guy says, I'm original Koreano. We're Jamaican people. Ah, la 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 long la long long. I'm not Jamaican. And I'm offended. Personally, I'm not even Jamaican, and I am personally offended. Again, this year of our Lord and Savior 2020. Where does it end? Where does it end? What is the point of black squares and donations and we're going to do better and we're trying to learn and everything else when in 2020, the year of our Lord and Savior, this shit is what is flying? Now, truth be told, it's not like we are blameless in terms of allowing ourselves to be caricatured around the world. I mean, obviously they found a African person who agreed to go along with this foolishness. So I have no doubt that there are probably black people in Korea that when they are consulted about what do you think of this cool look, that they're probably so gassed up to be asked to contribute to the conversation that they're just like, oh yeah, you look just like my cousin Tyrone. That is so cool. When really and truly, you know it's terrible. You know it's terrible. But yeah, there are people that are so busy trying to fit in that they'll just let any shit slide. But it's exhausting because netizens have not said anything about that. This show has got higher ratings every single week. It's one of the top dramas on TV currently. The netizens see no problem with this because to them, this is reggae hair. This is a trend. This doesn't represent anything deeper than just, fun, fun, fun. A la 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 long fun. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in America desperately cringing about the fact that I'm mispronouncing Korean names left, right, and center. But I'm not wearing a full wig and powdered makeup and confusing my L's and my R's because I realized that would be extremely disrespectful. I'm worried about not being offensive. You're worried about, is this comedic enough? Shit's mad exhausting, man. It's mad exhausting. And then something I put on Twitter, because I very rarely am good for an original tweet. Very rarely. Most of the time, I consist of nothing but reposts and likes because that's how I live my Twitter life. I'm all about sharing information. Whatever I see that's good, I try to put it back out there to spread the word. But recently, I was talking about that K-Hip Hop World thread, and there was a group called Diva that they were rapping, and it was a three-piece group from the 90s, early 2000s. And I said, why are fans not talking about the fact that there are no female rapper-led idol girl groups? And I got I got 3 responses that were definitely food for thought. One was that, 2NE1 was that group, and I'm like, yeah, but they're not promoting currently. Another point was that EXID was that group because it was led by Ellie. But again, the group has pretty much disbanded because everyone's left Banana Culture. So I don't know if they're going to be able to continue to promote with their name. I think this next Japanese release is their last release. And then somebody else brought up G-Idol, which G-Idol, I guess, would be the answer. The thing that bothers me about G-Idol, though, is the fact that G-Idol consistently is looked at as Suhyun and them other girls that do whatever the fuck she says because she's the genius. And you don't have narratives in K-pop of like these great rapper duos or rap lines for girl groups. And why is that? Why is it that over the years we've seen so many different concepts for girls? We've seen girl crush, we've seen quirky, we've seen sexy, we've seen cutie, we've seen, masturbatory fodder for the uncle stands. Yet and still, we don't have a K-pop girl group that's led by a strong rap line. I know you did not say Sunamu. What's the last thing they came out with that anybody remembers? Let's just be honest. I mean, we could play games, but let's not play that game. But you have groups like Big Bang where people are like, oh, GD and Top, one of the greatest rap duos of all time in K-pop, and look at them go, and they produce and they write, and everybody respects them. Or you look at BTS and you're like, oh my gosh, Namjoon and Suga are killing it on the production, and the rap line is so strong. I can't wait to hear the next cipher. Or you have used to have BAP, and everybody would talk about how strong the rap line was for BAP. Or you have Block B, which has a really strong rap line. You have all of these groups that are boy groups that have rap lines that a lot of times take the focus off of the vocal line. You do not have that when it comes to K-pop girl groups. Why haven't we talked about this more? Why aren't we asking for this more? Because we obviously like female rappers. We keep inviting them to do shows on Mnet all the time. We have them doing Unpretty Rap Star. We have them doing Good Girl. We have them, just being out here. But we don't have them in the idol space. No, Blackpink doesn't count either. I'll tell you why as well. Jennie was not marketed as a rapper initially. Anybody who's been around the block a time or two knows that Jennie was initially marketed as a vocalist. Her appearance on GD's albums were as a vocalist. It wasn't as a rapper. And Lisa absolutely does not write her raps. She's not getting writing credit for that stuff. So to say, oh, it's led by two rappers. No, there are two girls who rap, absolutely. But they're not a rap-led group by any stretch of the imagination. And then even Jennie's solo, that wasn't a rap song. So, I mean, if she's a rapper, that wasn't a rap song. 4 Minute had a strong rapper, but it wasn't really led by their rap line when you think about it. So even if she auditioned as a rapper, rapper's not what she does. Rapper's not how she functions. Oh My Girl, they're not known for their rap line. And if they are known for their rap line, they really need to reconsider what rap line means, because the girl they sent to Good Girl is not. She's not. Straight up, she's not. Cosmic Girls, nobody thinks about them as rap line. CLC, nobody thinks about them as rap line. Bandit, I can't even tell you anything about that group. I'm gonna be completely candid with you. Couldn't tell you nothing about that group. But girl groups who are known for their rap line and their vocal line is just kind of an accessory to the rap line, there's not a lot of that. And even if there is a group where the rap line is the most popular part of the group, they don't write their stuff. They don't get a lot of credit for it. And so they're the rap line because they can't sing. Like, let's just be really clear on this. A lot of times they're the rap line because they can't be vocal line. Or they're the rap line because they're the visual. Or they're the rap line because they're a dancer. But recruiting girls from the underground and putting them in an idol group with a strong rapping, writing, production background is not happening. And you can't even say it's because those girls don't exist in Korea, because that's not true. As a person who listens to a lot of K-R&B and a lot of K-hip-hop, there are a lot of girls out here who could do this. A ton of girls who can do this. And because there are so many girls who can do this, it doesn't make any sense why there aren't more of them on the scene. There's so many girls in K-hip-hop who write their own stuff. And not just lyrics. They produce their own music. Every once in a while I'll get a ping from Sumin and she'll be doing a live stream and she'll just be creating songs. Like just a drop of the hat, like looking around on the keyboard. I'm going to use the looping machine. Throw a little background vocals that I pre-recorded. Let's make a song today, guys. There's so many girls who play piano, they write their music, they record all their vocals, they're multi-instrumentalists. There's girls who flip up back and forth between rapping and singing. They're there, and they're beautiful girls on top of that. It's not even like they're ugly. And it shouldn't matter what they look like, but we all understand that K-pop is a visual medium as well as an audio medium, so that does matter. But they're not even ugly. They're just not considered. because nobody wants to acknowledge that women can do that on a mainstream platform. It's very different if we're talking about K-hip hop, because those girls are really treated like unicorns. Thank you, David. I hope you're doing well too. Those people are treated like unicorns. They're treated like, oh, well, this is the exception to the rule, or this is a different kind of person, or they're more of an artist as opposed to an idol. But you can't even say artist opposed to idol anymore, because the argument is constantly being made. This idol group writes their own music. This idol group does their own choreography. This idol group does this, the A, B, C, and D. They sell their own uniforms. Idol groups are being attributed with so much more that they do in-house. But when it comes to the girls, no, you have to be an absolute product of the company. The fact that Ellie has been allowed to have so much say in the way that EXID has performed over the years and what they've said and the songs that they sing is very rare. The way that Suhyun is able to basically mold G-Idol into her image, very rare. There's very few female leaders who are attributed with production, songwriting, concept building, and then putting it out there. But there are guys in guy groups who do this all the time. Why aren't we giving women more opportunity to shine like this? Like, it's years later when you find out some idol wrote all these different songs for all these different people. Take Girls' Generation, for instance. It's after disbandment that you start to hear, oh, such and such wrote this song and such wrote that song, but they didn't want their pen name to be out there. And it's like, okay, well, if this was possible, why weren't they given more opportunities to do this within the context of the group? Why wasn't this a promoted thing for them when they were in the group? And I see a comment here that says, the problem with those attributes aren't prioritized for female talent among recruiters, and if they happen to scout individuals like that, they rarely give them a seat at the table. Which, that's what we're asking for. We're asking for a seat at the table. Dante's analysis says, I'm impressed with Queen Wasabi. Even though she's not an idol, she writes and produces her own music. And I mean, she's one of many girls that do this. Many girls do this. So many girls do this, it's unbelievable. But it's not looked at as being a valuable thing. And I'd love to see it. I feel like the next group that needs to pop in our current climate, politically and everything else, we need a group kind of like Mamamoo, but instead of it being vocal line focused, it needs to be rap line focused. And they need to be very much involved in their concept. They need to be very much involved in their production. They need to be very much involved in their songwriting. And I think that when you make this group, this girl group, they're going to have to be fine. And that's not me saying that to downgrade anybody or to treat anybody like pieces of meat. But let's just be honest. Again, the medium is very visual, so that's very much needed. But along with being a rapper-led group and being beautiful, they need to have immaculate production. One of the things I've seen with a couple of groups that have been trying to be more like female crush rap oriented is that the production is shit. Like, the music that they choose to rap over is just the hottest of garbage. So what I'd like to see, and this is the dream, it's never going to happen, but this is the dream, I would love to see somebody like Gray or somebody like Cha Cha produce a female idol group that is more rap-led than song-led. They would need to be a beautiful group, absolutely, but I'd like to have them have undeniable production. And I would love to see their lyrics be something that's very relatable. I mean, you look at an ITZY and the self-empowerment lyrics are really cool, but it's very much almost like a cheer squad level of self-empowerment. I'd love for it to be something that's clever, that's eye-catching, and something that women would love to say over and over again. And in order for it to be something that a woman would love to say over and over again, it needs to be written by a woman. It needs to be written by a woman. Because we kind of know what we want to hear. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm not above a good ass shake. I'll listen to a Dolly and I'll pop it all day long because I like that. But it needs to be something that when women hear it and they play it over and over again, it just strikes something in us because it's such a universal experience. And there's men that are really good at capturing that, but it's not their lived experience for the most part, which is why I'd really love to see a woman writing and producing something that's meant to be relatable to women. And I don't want it to be super preachy and super somber. Sorry, Amber. I'd like it to be something that's fun and something that's chantable and something that, you know, when you get your girlfriends together, you sing it to each other because we all relate and this is us and we like this. You know, I'd love to see something kind of like, I'm trying to think what would be similar to it in America. I was trying to look up that one song that was talked about on the live that was like a Dolly, but 10 times more backbreaking girls. Not the girls at the top aren't talented, but it's easier for them to make it in the industry. Like, I would just love to see, like, I don't know, I'd love to see, like, a Megan Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, Rico Nasty, Sweetie Energy super group for K-pop. And I want all their songs to be, like, TikTok ready. And, you know, just be like, you know, I'm out here because I look good and you're mad because you can't look like me. You know, something like that. Kind of like look at you, look at me, you know, that kind of energy, but just like a little bit more clever, a little bit more modern, a little bit more snappy, a little bit more sassy, that kind of thing. Yes, I do know Bibby. I actually have one of her albums, so I do know of her. And she is signed to I keep saying Drunken Tiger, but Tiger was it Tiger JK? She's signed to Tiger JK's label. But again, solo girl, K hip hop, K R&B scene. I want it to be in a pop realm. I really want it to be in a pop realm. So that'd be nice. It'd be nice if Kenzie could get outside the realm. It'd be nice if, you know, Sumin kind of decided to step away a little bit from her career and really focus on production and songwriting for others, because Sumin's got the heat. Like, she really does. She's been mostly doing ballads in production, but she's really got the heat. Because she's, I don't know. It could be that one female is the key. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely would like a good message. And it could be a message that has nothing to do with men too. Like, that's the other thing. So many songs written in K-pop are revolving around men when it comes to girls. Whether the man has rejected you, or whether you're in love with a guy, or you're in a rocky relationship, or you're just tired of the male gaze. But there's not a lot of songs talking about relationships between women, or just, you know, relationships with a woman and herself, you know, or a relationship with a woman and her mother, or a woman and her family, and the expectations that people put on them. And I think that that'd be something really great to see as well, to like pass the Bechdel test and make it to where this conversation has nothing to do with a man and has everything to do with the lives of women and our shared experiences and things that go beyond love and affection and sex and go to another place that we're all with, you know, how we're all battling. If it's not insecurities, maybe it's financial stability or insecurity of our unstableness in our lives, you know, worries about our future. There's a way to commoditize that. And it absolutely is true, because all you have to do is look at early BTS's catalog. The song Tomorrow has nothing to do with a love relationship. A lot of their songs have nothing to do with a love relationship. And it's still possible to be a fun group, to have catchy music, and not be talking about relations with the opposite sex. And it seems like it's really easy for guys to do that when they're talking about each other or talking about the pressures of a man in the world and all this stuff. But it's that kind of variety of subject matter is just not extended to women like that a lot of the time. And I wish it was. That's part of the reason why Guyan is such a fucking treasure. And it's just so sad that, you know, health concerns and everything else have pulled her away from us. Because while a lot of her music is about relationships, it's like the parts of relationship that pop doesn't like to talk about. Like, Fuck You, that song, I don't think that anyone else in K-pop could have ever made that song besides her. She is literally the only person on the planet, probably, who could have done that song in Korea. Because she had already done songs about self-exploration, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. And of course, Brown Eyed Girls, they very much have a storied and varied discography. But yeah, I think that, you know, if you're going to talk about a love relationship, talk about something different. Talk about something that is maybe not butterflies or, you know, romantic dates or, oh, he broke up with me. Maybe talk about, you know, I love you, but I love my job and I hate having to choose between the two. Or, you know, you expect me to do a bunch of shit when I get home, but I've been working the same amount of hours as you. Maybe you need to clean the dishes tonight. I mean, I don't know how you do that in song form. You need to clean the dishes. I work just as hard as you. I put in 10 hours today. I'm just asking for a few minutes from you. Would you go in there and clean the plates off? Could you load the dishwasher for me? I'm so tired of being asked to do the chores when we pay rent equally. I mean, it's a terrible song, but still, you get the point. Something different. Something different. But yeah, equality is everywhere. Equality is missing everywhere. And I think when you approach the subject matter with, but what about the uncle fans? If women are half the population, why aren't we thinking, what about the ladies? But when people think, what about the ladies? Their idea of what about the ladies is, what cute boys can we throw in front of them? How many body rolls can we put into the choreography? How many lifts of shirt can we do? How many, you know, that kind of stuff can we do for the ladies? And that's all well and good. I'm not going to act like I don't like it. Trust me, I've hollered enough about Rain body rolling on this channel for y'all to know mama likes, I like. But I would also like to see something else. Something for me. Like, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. Yeah, something for me. Something for me. For me and my girls, for fun. Just fun. Just something fun. Something fun. So, I don't know. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I think K-pop has the range. It's time to stop acting like we don't have the range. We have the range. So, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's ask for this. Let's ask for more. You know, also, like, can I please get Blackpink to quit insulting me? Like, straight up. I get it. Look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. And I'm assuming they're talking to their ex-boyfriend, but it really does feel like they're attacking me personally, and I don't appreciate that because, I mean, you are asking to dig in my pocket, so maybe don't be so mean to me, because that would be nice. I would appreciate that. Maybe. I talked about G-Idol. I think G-Idol is a good group. I think I can appreciate what Sohyun is doing in terms of having a very clear view of what she wants and pushing the group in that direction and, you know, hoping to become something bigger than just another girl group out on the scene. But I really want her to go to school. I really would like her to take night classes, online classes, further her education, because when we watched Queendom, some of the way she refers to cultures outside of Korea was in a very novelty-esque way, in a very kind of touristy, just like, ooh, what exotic elements can I pull out of these different cultures to make something new and interesting? And not really approach with any respect for the cultures that are being utilized. You know, like her ethnic hip thing. That that speaks to other without acknowledging other. Like, let's be very real about that. Calling something ethnic hip, it's like this belongs to no place, but I'm appropriating from every place to make something interesting and different and ooh, you know? And I don't know much about Asian cultures really. I mean, I look at K-pop, I watch a number of boys love dramas, but I really don't know a lot about a lot of Asian cultures, especially nothing about like India and some of the other countries around that area. I'm not familiar with. But I do know that their music means something. I know that their religious iconography means something, and I don't think that it's appropriate to pick and choose what looks cool and exciting to you and be like, well, I'm not trying to be offensive, I'm just trying to be hip. Nah, no, that's not cool. That's not cool. You know, because everything has a background. Everything has a backstory. Everything means something to somebody. And I think at the very minimum, you should educate yourself so you can know whether or not you're doing justice to something, or if you are mocking something or being disrespectful towards something. You know, I don't want to get back into the whole Jim Jones debate, but again, you know, yeah, it's cool to hear his sermons, but when you find out about the hundreds of people he killed by making them drink poison Kool-Aid, it's not so fun anymore, is it? So I like her. I like where she's going. I like where her head is. And I really think that she can do a lot in terms of, you know, bringing a new, fresh take on things to the scene. But she has this thing about kind of trivializing stuff in order to be cool and edgy and not really paying a lot of attention to what it means or its background. For instance, oh my gosh, I know, you know, my mama knows, everybody knows that song was about lesbianism, even though they wanted to be like, it's not about lesbianism. But we know what it is, right? But this is the thing. By heavily relying on themes that strongly hint on lesbianism to be edgy, but then that's not about that, guys. On the one hand, we could take it as it's an inside joke. We all know what it means, but you know, we don't want the conservatives to lose their cool. But on the other hand, it reinforces the idea that these are discussions to be hidden. This is a forbidden area to approach. And that sends a message that you might not be intending to be sending to a young lady. There might be a young lady who watches the oh my gosh video and is like, that's me. Like, literally, this is my life. I have an attraction to somebody. I don't know how to deal with it. This is me. And then you see the idol saying, oh, it's not about that. That's just a thing that they're putting on, but that's not what it's about. And then all of a sudden you're like, but I could have sworn this is me. And now you're saying it's not? Are you saying it's not because it really isn't and I'm just implying things? Or are you saying it's not because this is wrong and we can't acknowledge the elephant in the room? And yeah, that means something. It means something to keep denying things over and over and over again. I'm not about pushing anybody out the closet because I realize safety is an issue. People's lives and careers have been ruined being pushed out of the closet. So I'm absolutely not saying that people need to be out before they're ready. But I have a huge problem with people playing games about it, because not everybody has the ability to step a foot in and out of the closet like some of these celebrities and these idols do. I am absolutely talking to you, Jo Kwon. Listen to me good. playing that will they won't they game and thinking it's cute and it's funny and be like, oh, I'm not gay, I'm just playing a very flamboyant character all the time, 24/7, and I have these rainbow tattoos, but it means nothing to me. I'm just being fun. This is funny, right? This is a shtick. Listen, if you're not ready to come out, don't. I would never force you to. That's your business. But don't play it up as if this is comedy when you know and I know what it is, and there's a little boy who knows what it is, and you're reinforcing the fact that we still can't talk about this. We can be wearing heels and we can be dancing to Lady Gaga and we can be in multiple plays about the lives of gay men and we can have rainbow tattoos and everything else, but we can't say that we're a part of the community because there's still a taboo reinforcement. And it's hurting some people. It's hurting some people. You might not see it, but it's hurting some people. So let's not play the game. Let's not play the game. If we're going to be like that, let's just really not play the game. Because you're still sending the subconscious message that in the background, it's still not okay. We can be whatever we want to be, but we still can't talk about it. We still can't acknowledge it. It's still taboo. It's still forbidden. And again, I reinforce, if you've got to stay in the closet for safety, for housing, for anything else to keep you stable, I would never force you to get out of the closet. But the people who flirt back and forth with the line aren't people who are concerned about those things. Those are people who are trying to protect a bag. Straight up. It's people trying to protect a bag. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this live. It was a little bit different. It started on a very somber note and it lightened up and then it got somber again, kind of. But you know, that's just the way this is. This literally is a conversation that we would be having if you were sitting on my couch. Like if you were sitting on my couch right now and you and I were talking and Vernon here was in the background, this is the way the conversation would ebb and flow. It would be, you know, you and me, you and me, you and me up here, down here, and maybe somewhere in the basement. That would be the way it would be because that's just the way I am. And so I don't know how to have a straight conversation that stays only in one arena. I've never done it. Not in my life, Jack. My mind goes to too many places. I was asked what I think about G-Friend's comeback. To be honest, I haven't listened to it today. It's Monday, and Mondays are a really busy day for me when it comes to work, so I don't really have a lot of time to listen to stuff. And everybody's talking about, oh my gosh, they've moved into their adult ceremony phase. And, you know, that's cool for them. Glad for it. I hope they're happy with it. But G-Friend is a group I really lost a lot of passion for very early on, and I've just never really checked out any of their comebacks since, what's the name of that comeback that they did where they were shooting the guns? Can't remember what it's called now, but it was after like the Rough era. They had this one where they were just like doing gun shooting in the choreography. Fingertip, there it goes. Yeah, after that I checked out on G-Friend completely. So I know nothing about their music in recent years. There's a lot of groups I do that with. Oh My Girl's one of them too. But you know, I wish them the best. From what I understand, their affiliation with Big Hit has been very good for them in terms of album sales and everything else. That definitely the Big Hit money has given them a boost, which that's good to hear because, you know, I think that we were all kind of worried about what was this going to mean for the groups that now came under the Big Hit umbrella, because you had G-Friend because Big Hit acquired Source, and then you had Pledis being acquired, and 17 and New East and the name After School, not that there's any members there, and so people were kind of concerned, like, what does it mean to be swallowed up by this larger company? How would you be at the mercy of their primary boy groups and their release schedules, and you'll get the crumbs? And it really does feel like this has been a good move for most of the groups involved, except for New East. We don't hear anything from New East anymore. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But like 17, this has been a great album cycle for them. They've sold a ton of music. So good for them on that. GFriend, their sales have been rather healthy, so good for them on that. But yeah, like it could have gone a totally different way. It could have, honestly, conspiracy theory head on here. It absolutely could have been, let's buy our competitors and put them out of business time. It could have absolutely been that. It could have been a fucking nightmare. But it wasn't. It was actually pretty good. In fact, I'm wondering, what are some other labels that we need Big Hit to buy to maybe put a little bit more life into the labels? And I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe DSP should look at trying to merge, because you've seen what they've done for 17. You've seen what they've done for GFriend. Maybe Card under Big Hit rather than DSP. Maybe April under Big Hit rather than DSP. I'm not saying it should happen, but I'm just saying, I mean, it seems as if they're not just acquiring these companies just to dismantle them. It seems like they're acquiring these companies because they actually have legitimate plans for these companies, and that's nice to hear. So yeah, I think DSP, you might want to consider selling the fuck out, because Card doesn't make sense to me, and not in a bad way, more in a like, Big Matt is so well liked by international fans. The music is not bad music at all. But for some reason, it just seems like they have never connected in Korea that way. And even international fans don't really talk about the group as much as they maybe talk about individual members. So if Big Hit could find a way to capitalize on Big Matt's popularity out here and kind of the individual interest that people have in the group, and then maybe fix their sound so that it could be something that the Korean public will buy, as well as maybe re-piquing the international audience's attention, that'd be wonderful. That'd be really, really wonderful. So yeah, DSP, consider selling the fuck out. Consider just, packing up your bags and selling out, because your artists definitely deserve more than your management has given them at all. Management at DSP is sorry. Woo, that management at DSP is sorry. So, that's definitely a company that I think should make that move. Also, not for nothing, I personally would love to see Big Hit buy a K hip hop label. I think that that'd be a move as well, because there are a lot of people in the K hip hop scene who write for Big Hit. If you look at some of the liner notes for some of these later albums, you'll see people who are involved in the K R&B scene low key that are given songwriting credits, song producing credits, so they're there. Particularly, I think it's a couple of members of Planetarium who have done some production and writing work for Big Hit. I would love to see Big Hit purchase Planetarium. I think Villain has left recently, so that might be a problem, because he was a really important part of Planetarium. I don't know what the rest of the group is doing, but I think I would love to see Big Hit bring in a KR&B label to the fold, because definitely when you look at some of the top selling songs from K-pop artists that do well internally in Korea, a lot of them are poppy songs, but Korea loves a good coffee shop jam. They love a good R&B ballad, a good, coffee shop jam. It's the best way I could say it. And I think it'd be awesome for Big Hit to be like, okay, let's bring in some really young and different and kind of more out of the box performers, and bring them in not just to promote their solo stuff and what they're recording, what they're writing for themselves, but maybe just make an environment. I'm sorry, my nose is starting to run, y'all. Maybe make an environment where, we have kind of a writer's room, or a collaborative space where many people can get together and start working on all these different projects, and then we have kind of the SM book, but it'd be the Big Hit book of like tracks and productions that then can be looked at when future projects are made and be like, oh yeah, such and such wrote this and it was really good because this other people contributed to that, and now it made something that a group completely unaffiliated with that is using on their latest album because it just sounded really cool and it was a really interesting writing experience. You know, that's the thing that I think would be so interesting to see, because whether you guys know it or not, a lot of these K hip hop, K R&B artists, they have like little friend collectives that they have, and like, you know, you have Fancy Child and you have some of these other kind of writer collectives that, you know, do stuff. And it's all informal. It's not an in-house thing. It's just we're friends outside of whatever record labels or other business interests we have, and we get together and we write. But wouldn't it be lovely if you could do that same thing but also put it under one roof and just, you know, create a vibe, create a feel, create an energy, and, you know, have some really interesting things come out of that, you know, some things that really push the envelope and move things in a different direction. I feel like that's the only way you're gonna find the next Teddy. That's the only way you're gonna do it, is if you start building kind of an incubation space for this talent. I'd like that. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. I'd love to see Big Hit do something similar to an SM station. That would be really, really interesting. Because, I mean, they already do these one-off songs with BTS anyway. Wouldn't it be really cool if instead of doing these one-off songs that the members do anyway, kind of once in a blue moon, if they're like, you know, hey, we're going to be doing collaborations and we're going to have an artist from our label or from one of our subsidiary labels do a collaboration with somebody not on the label and see what they come up with. And then, unlike SM, who quit doing the compilation albums, which they should have kept doing, you know, do a compilation album. Do, like, you know, Big Hit Duets 2020, Big Hit Duets 2021. At the end of the year, sell these things. Especially if they feature any songs from the members of BTS, those things will sell out. And I think it'd be a really cool look for the label to just, you know, instead of saving it for when it's on an album, just do these kind of one-off in-between projects, do really good digital sales on those, and at the end of the year, make a compilation album with all of these little projects put on there. I think it'd be brilliant. I would buy it. I personally would buy it. But anyway, that's all that. And so thank you for watching. It's been a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm really tired right now. I don't know what the hell was going on with me yesterday, but I've had allergy issues this weekend. I did not go to bed until 3:43. I know that specifically. That's the last time I read the time on my cell phone. I went to bed at 3:43 and got up at 5:33. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me, but I gotta go to bed now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to see your comments in the comment section. I do read the live chat, but it's a lot harder to go back and read the live chat because you have to, like, scroll to the end of the video and then... Anyway, comment section. Man, real talk, FNC. You might also be needing to do the same thing as DSP and just put up the for sale sign, because everything's wrong. Everything's wrong. I feel like I can hear Celine in the background saying "When It All Falls Down." I feel like I can hear her in the background. Oh, when it all falls down. I feel like that's what I'm hearing in the background here, because, like, Seeing Blue, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with them now. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with FT Island. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with AOA. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with Inflying's on FNC, right? Yeah, what the fuck's going on, man? Level with us. What the fuck is going on around there? I feel like it's a breeding ground for assholes. Straight up, it feels like it is a breeding ground for assholes. And Cherry Bullet, you have a really interesting light stick, Cherry Bullet. I honestly wanted to buy your light stick just because it looks like a little gun, but in times of, you know, police brutality, I can't have anything that looks like a gun in my house, even if it is cherry red. But yeah, FNC, the fuck is going on? Why are there so many problems in your house? Why is everything going wrong consistently all the time? Cube, I know why stuff is going on wrong with you. Is because Hyuna planted a root in front of your building the day that you fired her, and she just made sure that everything you even think about will crumble before her because you did her dirty. But yeah, FNC, what the hell is going on? I don't know why SF9 didn't promote, because their new video is doing really big numbers in the view counts. Like, this has taken me by surprise. They have better numbers than Red Velvet. That says something, because Monster, even though it's not a OT5 Red Velvet project, it's still a big deal. It still has a sound that I like. It's no naughty, but it's good. But yeah, SF9 is killing it right now, and so I don't know why they're not promoting. Maybe somebody's injured or something, or I don't know, maybe they can't get their shit together to do proper social distancing on music shows. I have no clue. We'll see what happens with that one, but yeah. Have y'all heard Naughty yet? Have you heard Naughty? Naughty is so good, y'all. I mean, don't get me wrong, Monster's a fine title track, until you hear Naughty. And then you hear Naughty and you're like, you mean this was in the can the whole time? Also, there's totally a video for Naughty. I was on the live stream with Mason. I'm like, isn't there a carousel in the teaser? He's like, no, there's no carousel in the teaser. And then I watched a clip on YouTube where there was like some show that they were on, like a variety show or something, and they were showing clips from them filming, and they were dancing in front of the carousel. And then there's also like a still photo from really far away with, I think, Sulgi dancing in front of an empty pool or something. And I'm like, okay. There's a video for Naughty. There's got to be a video for Naughty. Naughty is the best song on the album. It is a title track. Don't let anybody tell you different. Naughty is a title track. Okay, so Jay Hyde, I'm going to get off here, but Jay is asking, what's Naughty? Naughty is a CD-only track from the new Sulreen project, and it's a great fucking song. I would love to play it right here. I can't because SM will kill me, because they don't want anybody to play it. It's even hard to find on YouTube, honestly. People have been very careful about not trying to get that copyright strike. But Naughty is a title track. No ifs, ands, or buts. Naughty is a title track. It's phenomenal. It sounds so good. It's got such great energy. It is... It's really, really fucking good. It's really, really fucking good. It's better than Monster. And, I mean, hopefully people have moots who will send you the deets, will send you the files, since you can't get it on streaming currently. Apparently, SM is saying they don't want it on streaming until after they've promoted it on music shows, which... Does that seem bizarre to you? That's a weird way to go about things, honestly. But yeah, Naughty is that girl. She's absolutely that girl, and I hope that the public is still interested in the Sulreen project when Naughty is finally released. Because if they are, you're in for a treat, buddies. You're in for a treat. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you, and I'll talk to you later. I have to think that the only reason why Naughty is not being included is because they want to direct the streams to Monster. So that's why they're holding Naughty back until they're done promoting Monster, and then they'll promote Naughty. I have no idea. I don't know what the rationale is. That's all I can think of, because Naughty is that girl. Naughty is the one that you listen to, you're like, oh, I didn't know you had an older sister. Like, it's nice. It's really nice. All right, then. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Talk to you later. Bye.